Welcome back to another episode of the Bamboo Season Podcast. I'm your host, Sober Wellness Coach Dorian Warmsley. This is the podcast where you'll hear real, raw stories of resilience, growth, transformation, all to help you on your journey as to becoming a better version of yourself. Me and my guests share our stories with that in mind. One thing I am huge on is giving back. In whatever form that is, monetary, energetically, spiritually. Growing up as a kid, charities and nonprofits will help me get the simple things in life. And my guest today herself is doing that. Well, not herself, but anyways, my guest today is here we go, Sara Ramirez.
Hi.
See, I mess up too. I get nervous.
We do it together. It's authentic.
So before we hop into it, so you let us know who you are, what you do, who you help.
Sure. So my name is Sara Ramirez, and I get the privilege to serve as president and CEO for Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada.
Woo!
Yeah.
That comes with a lot of work, I'm sure.
It does, but with a lot of rewards too, right?
Yeah.
We have a team of 300 employees, 16 programs. We do a lot of work in this community.
The thing I love, Sara, is the way we met.
Yeah.
It was very authentic, organic. I was at the news station promoting my breast cancer charity event. You were there in the green room. And it's been a staple for me of when you're in situations like that to interact, to talk to that person, regardless, like get the phone away, make contact. If they don't want to talk, then they don't talk.
Yeah.
One of my favorite speakers, I forgot who it was, said whenever you go somewhere in a room, an event, make sure by the time you leave, you've told 3 people who you are, what you do, who you help. At least 3. And ever since then, I've done it no matter what. Not promoting myself, like, hey, I'm this and this, but just get to genuinely know somebody. Because you never know, that person might need exactly what you're looking for and vice versa.
That's right.
Or they know somebody who needs what you got, or they can connect you. If you're going into it with the energy of connection, not transaction.
Yep.
So I saw you sitting there and I'm like, well, we're in this green room. So what you doing? What's your name? What are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm, Sara Ramirez. I'm here to promote Turkey Drive coming up. And I told you what I was doing. And I was like, whoa, charities are what helped me as a kid with so much. And I was like, I got to hear more and learn about you and what the Catholic Charity does.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And I know I vividly recall when we first met and even sharing with you that I think it was God's path to have us cross, without a doubt. So it's a true honor to be here with you and to hear a little bit of your story that you shared with me.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, you don't wake up and just be like, hey, Mom, I'm going to be running or head of one of the biggest charities, in the U.S. How did you get to this point? We can scale it back a little bit. Where are you from originally?
Sure. So I love to tell everyone I am a Georgia peach because I was born in Savannah, Georgia.
Really?
Yes. But I grew up in the Texas Panhandle. All of my family is up there. And so that's where I was raised around my family and friends in a very small, tight-knit community called Borger, Texas. And my whole family, Dorian, is in oil and gas. And so whenever I said I was going to I thought I was going to be a child psychiatrist. But when I told him I was going into that field, I still remember my dad going, underwater basket weaving, what? What is this? Because my whole family is oil and gas.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what it is. And I tried to spend a lot of time reflecting back on it. But God just planted something on my heart, and it was to help others. And, Dorian, I once had someone ask me, not disrespectfully, but Sara, why is this a white privilege? Why do you do what you do? And reality is no, when I see someone in need, I envision myself there. And I wonder, what would I want someone to do for me? And then I just feel a calling to step up to that plate and be that voice and to help them in whatever way that could be.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
It's something that's been in my mind. It recently was on my mind. I wanted to get people's perspective on the other side.
Yeah.
Because there are people who, I don't like saying nobody has struggle because everybody struggles different. But for the most part, they had the stability at home. They had the parents. They're set up pretty good to, at least up until adulthood, to figure out, what's going to go next. But they choose to do things like how you're doing something in them wants to give back to charity. They never lived it. They've never really experienced it. And I've always been curious, like, what's the psychology in that person's mind? Like, what is it that hit them to like, I don't care about families and oil and all that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want to go help these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you saying that, it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah. And it really is, you know, looking back on my childhood, no doubt we all go through struggles, right? But I never had a moment genuinely where if I was in a challenge, I did not have someone that I could call and that could give me advice. Maybe I needed money at that time, right? Made some bad financial decisions, whatever it is. I always had someone around me that was a safety net. And I believe that that should not be a privilege. It should be just something we do for each other.
Do you ever feel a sense of, I don't want to say shame, but uncertainty that you belong in the field in a sense? Do you get what I'm saying? Because I've met people, you heard a little bit of my story. When I tell them my story, they're like, whoa, they didn't have that much experience, or they feel almost guilty that they had privilege.
Yeah.
Does that ever cross across your mind?
Absolutely does, right? Our soul feels a lot of different things. And there are times when I wonder, why not me, right? Why them? Why not me? And then, you know, you can go down those rabbit holes and question it and wonder it. And at the end of the day, I also think God gave me a brain, 2 arms and 2 legs to do something with. And Dorian, when I was growing up, I always got check marks, and sometimes a check mark with a plus next to talks too much in class, right?
I can see that.
And so I think now I'm like jokingly, like my teachers tried to stifle me having a voice for the community. And that is a skill set of mine, and I want to use it to good use and educate our community about the needs that are out there and how everybody, it doesn't matter if you are 4 years old or you're 99, there's a place for you to serve your community and to give back.
Oh, I agree 100%. Born in Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, moved Shannon Sharp.
Yep.
You moved to Texas area. What was your childhood like growing up?
Sure. So growing up, you know, we lived, I promise it wasn't Mayberry Town, but my grandparents did live catty corner from us. I had cousins who lived around the corner. And, you know, my parents, it's their first time at life too, right? They're going through their challenges and stuff. But if I look back in my childhood and look at who was my anchor, it was always my grandparents, Dorian. They were always there. They were there for every grandkid, every single one of their children. And they were very active in their church and very active in giving back to the community. And I really admire my grandparents. And they were someone that I genuinely looked up to.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what, we'll continue. What was school like? How'd you start going towards college? And
yeah, so whenever graduated high school and then went to school at Texas Tech, go Red Raiders.
Hey.
And when I was there, that's when I was grappling with, who am I? Who do I want to be, right? So I was down the path of psychology, thinking I wanted to be a child psychologist. And when I graduated, I decided I was going to go get my master's, but I switched gears a little bit and went into social work. So I went and got my master's in social work, not really even sure why, but I kind of thought, do I really want to write a dissertation? Like, no. So I'll go this path. And Dorian, I want a profound moment in my personal and professional career was when we were looking through, because back then we didn't have computers, they were just coming out, but flipping through a book of
Yellow
internship opportunities, right? So the big 3-ring binder. And one of them, it was me and a group of other students, and we saw Child Protective Services, an opportunity to do an internship with them. And everyone around me like snubbed their nose at it. No, I'm never going to do that. And then kept going. I found myself doing that exact same thing. And Dorian, I had no experience with Child Protective Services. I knew nothing about them. So I was like, you know what? No, instead of stubbing my nose at something, I'm going to go jump into it and go learn about it. And so I actually went and did high-risk investigations for about 4 years in Dallas County, Child Protective Services. So I investigated allegations of abuse and neglect for children who were under the age of 4.
Wow.
They're considered high risk because they're solely dependent on adult caretakers. And that was That was a moment for me where, don't get me wrong, I saw many rough moments for children. I also saw parents that were just struggling and trying their best with what they had, and decided from there I wanted to go further, and I wanted to be a part of the prevention, not the intervention side. One, there's more dignity and respect whenever you can do prevention work. It also costs our society a lot less than having to intervene afterwards. So that was a real driving force for me. And I did child protective services for about 4 years. And then one of the girls that I went and got my master's with, she called me one day and said, Sara, you've got to come to Catholic Charities. I was like, listen, I don't know anything about Catholic Charities. I don't even know anything about the Catholic faith.
Yeah.
Backstory to that, I grew up Methodist, and I had just married my husband, who was a cradle Catholic. So he was raised Catholic his whole life. But anyway, she was like, Sara, you've got to come over and see what this mission does. And this was in Fort Worth, Texas. So I went over there, fell in love with what I was seeing and the work they were doing with children and families, and really working to keep them together and help them through whatever the challenges were they were dealing with. And had no clue that God had a plan for me to grow professionally and spiritually at the same time. 22 years later, and I'm here in Las Vegas.
Wow. What a journey that is.
Yeah.
Few questions. I'll try to remember them all. The first one I want to go is back to your childhood. You mentioned your parents and your family's all oil and gas.
Yeah.
Was that the expectation? Was it pushed on you to follow the family, lineage in that way?
Not so much necessarily in the oil and gas side, but more in the business side, right? Like go get a business degree, go get your MBA. That sort of encouragement was really strong, especially whenever I was growing up. And I will always remember, Dorian, my dad sitting down with me one day and saying, college is not an option. As a woman, I want you to have healthy relationships, but I never want you to be in a situation where your partner has the control over you, right? That if something wasn't healthy for you, that you could always remove yourself from that situation and not stay because of finances or anything like that. So education was always pushed, more so on the business side. So now my family all came around. They're very proud of me now, and they all actively engage in their local community. But I will say that wasn't, outside of my grandparents, that wasn't a big push in my nuclear home, right? It was, yes, we went to church. Yes, we donated, but just do your work and live your life. It wasn't so much about going out and volunteering. I really witnessed that from my grandparents.
What's your father's name?
Richard.
Shout out to Rich. What's your maiden last name?
Barnes.
Richard Barnes. Shout out to him. Because I think that's a great thing to instill into your kid.
Yeah.
Especially as a female, like as your daughter, like to make sure you're not reliant on a man, and not in a bad way, the way it seems like he said it. Like, no, I just want you to make sure things hit the fan, you're sustainable, the value you bring, you're capable.
That's right.
That's so powerful.
That's right.
Wow. Shout out to Rich.
I think that's where I get a little of that, what I told you earlier about the how hard can it be gene.
Yeah.
I kind of got that from my dad. He would always build me up in that aspect.
Any siblings?
I do. I have an older brother who is 3 years older than me. Yep.
Is he military?
He was military, and actually my whole family was military.
Really? I knew it.
Air Force, Army, and my husband is a United States Marine.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Mr. Ramirez.
Yes.
Wow.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Marines that's different.
It is.
Just based off, I obviously haven't experienced it, but just, you see the training, you see there's only X amount of people who go through that and can maintain. That's a different kind of person.
Yeah.
And your father was military, you said?
Yes.
Was your mother?
No, my mom was not.
Okay.
No.
How did your parents meet?
So my parents met when my dad was a year or two older than my mom, and they met at a high school party. I'm pretty sure. She would not like me to say that, but I'm pretty sure that's the truth. There was a high school party, and they met there. They dated for a few years and then got married. And of course, my dad joined the Air Force and was stationed at different places, hence Savannah, Georgia. Myself and my older brother were both born there.
Wow. And then your brother was in Army?
Army.
Oh, wow. That's a cool family dynamic going on over there. Damn.
They're a powerhouse.
Yeah.
We always say if it's on the lungs, it's coming off the tongue in my family. We hold nothing back from each other.
Wow. And you and your husband have been married?
We have been married since 2004, so 21 years.
Wow.
And together 5 years before that. So together 26 years. Yeah.
Wow. So you guys been together
I'm
with
not
each
that
other
old,
more
by
than
the
you.
way.
I don't know. I'm not going. I don't get into age. I don't want to. But I would like to think you guys have been together longer than you have without each other.
We have, and we actually, when we hit that anniversary, we celebrated that. Absolutely.
Man.
He really is the yin to my yang.
Wow. And where'd you guys meet?
We met at Texas Tech. And actually through a group of friends. So I was at Tech before Ray got there, and I had a group of friends that we were really tight-knit circle, hung out, right? Almost every day together. And then a few months later, they had shared that one of my friends had shared that their cousin and their best friend were moving to Lubbock, and the best friend happened to be Ray.
Ah.
And so we hung out as friends for about 6 months, and then finally was like, actually, I asked him out.
Whoa. Wow.
I mean, is that a shocker?
Did you ask him or tell him?
Well, it could have been a little bit of a tell. Texas Tech had a football game out of town.
Yeah.
So they were having a watch party. And my roommate and I went over, and Ray was at the bar making a drink for a girl. And I walked over to him afterwards. I introduced myself to her, and then she walked off. And so I had asked Ray, who's that girl? And he shared her name, and I was like, oh, well, I don't really like her. And he was like, do you know her? And I go, no, not that I don't like her. I don't like her with you. And he said, who should I be with? And I said, me. And we left from there, and we went to a little jazz club and sat there for 3 hours just visiting.
Wow.
And from there, it's history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, Sarah, you don't play.
No, if you know what you want, you got to go for it.
Period.
Right?
Off the lungs, with the tongue, or whatever you said. And do you guys have kids together?
We have no kids. We weren't graced with that. Just wasn't in God's plans for us. But Dorian, back in 2019, we brought our niece to come live with us.
Oh, nice.
Her parents were having some challenges, and as a family, we pulled together and said we need to do something. And so Ray and I brought Gabby to come live with us, and she lived with us for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She adult now, I'm assuming?
So she's a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
But her dad is doing amazing and active in her life again.
Nice.
And so they are connecting. And I feel like we were there during the middle school years to really help her and kind of give her a path and some direction. And this girl, I always say, Gabby is going to do one of two things. She's going to light the world on fire, or she's going to burn it down. And she's on the light the world on fire path.
And your husband is Hispanic.
He is.
What is he from, or what's his background?
Yeah, so Ray actually grew up in Olney, Texas, so a little small town in Texas. But his parents are both, they were both born here as well, but his grandparents migrated from Mexico.
He's Mexican.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's beautiful being with Ray's family because his family is all fluent in English and Spanish. And so it's beautiful to hear their heritage and their history. And oh man, his mom makes the best Mexican food.
Wow.
And tortillas.
Oh, do you speak Spanish?
Un poquito.
Okay.
Yeah. Un poquito.
Just enough to get by. It's
Just enough to get by.
All you
Kitchen
need.
Spanish is what Ray calls it.
Listen, my mom is Mexican. She didn't teach me, so I wish I knew. It's never too late to learn.
That's right.
One thing that gets me is that my pronunciations are good. Like I can pronunciate well, and I know a lot of words. So people assume that I know. Like I went to Costa Rica, and I was saying certain words, so they look at me and they're like, "Oh," and start going off into a tangent. I'm like, Google Translate.
I struggle with that too, especially if I haven't met someone and they hear my name, right? They
Oh,
think
yeah.
Sara Ramirez. And then when they call, they'll start speaking Spanish. And I'm like, I caught hello. We got to back up. I'm still conjugating the verbs.
I get that because my mom, she's very fair-skinned, even though she's full Mexican. And as a kid, they used to think she was my babysitter. Because I'm this little black boy. She's this fair-skinned Hispanic woman, and no, she's full Mexican.
Yep.
So you started getting to Catholic Charities in Fort Worth.
In Fort Worth.
What was your initial responsibility when you got into it?
Sure. So the reason why I chose to go to Fort Worth Catholic Charities was because I ran, they asked me to oversee an assessment facility. So it was actually for children who were in Child Protective Services custody, but that have had multiple placement breakdowns. And what they need to do is analyze what the kind of home the child needs, right? And so we had psychiatrists, psychologists, the school district was on campus, and we did a whole psych social over 90 days to just be able to identify to Child Protective Services while they were working with their families and trying to reunite them what kind of home this child would most thrive in. Because some children don't need to be in a home with younger children. Maybe if they have a sexual abuse history and a history of acting out sexually themselves, you want them in a home with older children so those older kids can protect themselves and use their voice. Or it may be a child that's struggling with attachment disorders. And if they're struggling with that, you don't want to put them in a 2-parent home because they'll never form an attachment. You want to do a 1-parent home.
Interesting.
And so we'd really figure out, how do we keep these children from their placements breaking down over and over? Because every time a child moves a home, they regress 2 years emotionally.
Wow.
So you could have a child that at one point knew how to tie their shoes, no longer can tie their shoes.
Oh, wow.
No longer can feed themselves. And they're not acting out. They're not looking for something. This is a psychological impact as a result of losing a safe place, right? And constant disruption. I mean, their little bitty brains and little bitty bodies have no idea really what's going on. And so that's how I started at Catholic Charities. Yeah.
Was it challenging at all with you growing up as Methodist and it was a Catholic charity program? Like, I don't know if they instill the belief system on it or it just happens to be a charity that's based off of Catholic people. I don't know how it works.
Yeah. No, it was a challenge for me when I first started because I didn't know anything about the Catholic Church, right? It's 2,000 years old. There's a lot of tradition. And more so challenge, Dorian, was that I didn't want to be unintentionally disrespectful in any way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But as a mission, they do a really, really good job on our onboarding of educating us about Catholic Charities and why we even exist. So in the Catholic Church, there's a process, if you will, called Catholic social teachings, and they really are the foundation for everything related to the Catholic faith. So dignity in work, stewardship of God's creation, respect for human, preferential treatment for the poor and vulnerable, right? Those are the pillars. And quite frankly, after working at Catholic Charities for 4 years and really seeing the mission alive, not just something pretty written on a wall, right? Like you could see it in the interactions with families and everything from helping new moms give their children a healthy start at life to resettling refugees. We've resettled princes, doctors, lawyers, politicians from countries that they had to flee.
Oh, really?
Because their lives were in danger for their beliefs or the work that they did. And so getting to experience that and be immersed in it for 4 years, I fell in love with it and actually went through RCI. It's called Rite of Christian Initiative. And that's the process to become Catholic. And so I actually went through that journey in Easter of 2010. I joined the Catholic Church.
Wow.
So it took me 6 years, a lot of soul searching, really trying to learn more about the faith. I will say, I tell everyone I'm just a Catholic in training. Again, the church has been here for 2,000 years and I've been in the church for 15.
Wow. I didn't know they did all what you just said of helping refugees. And I kind of just thought they served meals to people. And I honestly didn't know the extent of what Catholic Charities does.
Yeah. So Catholic Charities around the nation, Dorian, there's 185 of us in the United States. And we're all independent. We serve under the pleasure of our bishop or our archbishops within our diocese. So we have territories. And really, when you see one Catholic Charities, you've seen one Catholic Charities because our services are going to be tailored to our local community.
Okay.
But we do offer refugee services here in Southern Nevada. And in fact, across all of Nevada, about 8,000 refugees are resettled every single year.
Really?
Yeah. They make up a huge population of our workforce.
And what is it? So do you guys also help with like immigration situations?
We do. Yeah.
Really?
So, and we actually have a 98, our work in immigration and refugee services. Our society will try to polarize us, right? You have to be either or. And one of the things I love about Catholic social teachings is we approach everything from a both and approach. So we do adoption services. We also do refugee and immigration legal services.
Oh, nice.
But we have, and as I share that, sometimes people are like, oh, so are you against the current administration, right?
Oh.
Regardless of which administration is in office.
Yeah.
And our answer is no. We have a 98% approval rating from the federal government, regardless of who is in administration. We're always going to follow the U.S. laws. But we also have an opportunity to help individuals on their path to U.S. citizenship.
So you help the people go through it the legal way,
Absolutely.
take the test, do the right way in a sense.
Absolutely.
Wow. And has there ever been issues or backlash with what you just said? Like, because it's on the outside looking in, it could seem as though, oh, you guys are trying to go around what the rules are or anything, but even though you're following, how's that been and how do you handle that?
Yeah. So we definitely struggle with that. And, it's one of those myths that you're trying to debunk. And so even the opportunity to be here with you today and talk about this, where someone, may be listening and go, oh, I had no clue. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, these are challenges we deal with all the time, regardless of who is in administration. And, we believe in the work that we do. And we're willing to stand up and fight for what's right for the most vulnerable in our community.
Wow, it's powerful.
And do it respectfully to everybody, because this is our community, right? It takes all of us working together to really keep our fabric strong.
Do the other 180 plus charities, do you guys, even I know you said they're different pertaining to where they're at.
Sure.
So I'm sure in certain areas they have more refugees. So that's pretty much what they work on more. And somebody in Idaho probably don't have that many refugees, so it's probably not the huge focus. Do you guys still work within each other?
We do. Actually, what's really great about the Catholic Charities Network is once a year we do have an annual gathering.
Oh, nice.
And it's a 3-day. What is so cool about it, Dorian, is like our refugee program may be a presenter at one of the sessions. So other Catholic charities can hear about what we're doing, what are new things, how do we partner together? So we really try to take and learn from each other and not recreate a wheel, right? If it already exists, we're not in competition with each other. And quite frankly, we're not in competition with our other nonprofits either. If we are all providing the highest caliber of services and we can share those best practices, our community is better off for it.
Wow. What's it called? The yearly
Catholic Charities USA.
When is it?
Oh, it is in late September, early October of every year.
So
they just had it.
Wow.
They had it.
Were you able to attend?
I wasn't at this one. It was in Puerto Rico this year.
Oh, nice.
And we always, local Catholic charities host it. So
Gotcha.
Catholic Charities of San Juan, Puerto Rico hosted this year. But that was right when the government shutdown was happening.
Oh,
and we made a leadership call that we needed to be boots on the ground here to support our team.
Wow. I think next year should be in Hawaii. And
I wish.
Invite me on as a co-chair of something. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, we can always come up with something. You could be a great speaker. And in fact, I think in 2 or 3 years, Catholic Charities of Northern Nevada up in Reno, they're going to host.
Oh,
So
wow.
all the Catholic charities around the United States will be up in Reno.
That's got to be great for the economy of that city also, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On an average, there's between 300 and 500 employees across Catholic Charities Network that show up to the conferences. And one year, the largest attended conference was Lyndon B. Johnson was the keynote speaker. And there were 7,000 Catholic Charities employees that showed up. And I cannot remember where it was. It may have been up in Washington, and that was in 1964.
I mean, damn, Lyndon B. Johnson, was he a president at the time? No, he was already done.
No.
64, no, that's got to be like Kennedy or somebody.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Don't hold me to it.
I don't want to even talk about that. People go crazy with stats and stuff. So I'm just looking at some notes that he had sent me to make sure I know what to talk about. I usually don't use notes because I like to let it go raw.
Yeah.
Just flow.
Absolutely.
I love hearing about Catholic Charities because I wish I could remember all the charities we used as a kid, but I just know the importance of them.
Yeah.
Right? Like growing up, very less fortunate. We were homeless for a few years. And during that time period, my mom, she's just a hustler, go-getter. She just knew where to get what, and different charities would give us vouchers to have somewhere to stay that night.
Yes.
Which was, it's, as a kid, it didn't seem as bad. I'm young, I'm out in the streets, I'm able to stay out later with my friends.
Yeah.
That was my mindset, like, okay, I don't got to be home yet because we don't have a home.
Yep.
Damn, that's dark right there. But that's what my mindset was. It was fun. But when I think back on it, I'm like, man, we would stay 2 nights here in Anaheim. Then we have to cross town another night or two.
Yeah.
And there was no phone, no Uber. There was phones, but no Uber, no maps or anything. Just taking the bus, just going with it. And very grateful for the charities that she did come across, because during holiday season was the hardest because she didn't have the funds to give us things, but they would donate, ask what's the kids' ages, gender, and bring us a box full of toys suited to me and my sister at the time, age and gender. And
yeah. Were you the oldest?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my sister's 8 years younger.
Okay.
So around this period, I'm 10 years old. So she's still like 2, 3.
Yeah.
So she's very young, still a baby.
Yeah.
I'm about 10 years old. It was like from age 9.5 to about age 13.
Okay.
Was the gap or era of life where we were unhoused. And I remember there's this one place in particular. I need to look it up because it's been some years. It was called Hope. And it was in the city of Orange.
Okay.
It was called, I think it was called Hope of Orange, but it was a school program, but it was so different. It was like 4 less fortunate kids, and the school bus would pick us up, and it was easily a 30-minute drive across town, across Southern California. What was cool was they gave us the little things we didn't have at home. It was so interesting. I remember in particular during Christmas, a family came. At the time I didn't know this, but they would sponsor you. So I remember them picking me. They took me to the store. I think it was Target or something. And they gave me, I don't know how much money, but they were like, hey, get toys and get gifts for your mom, for your sister, and for yourself. And Sarah, when I'm telling you, that was so empowering at the time. I didn't realize, but when I think back on it, being a young little man, but being able to get my mom, I remember like it was yesterday, Liz Claiborne perfume.
Yeah.
And then getting my sister Barney VHS. At the time, she was into Barney's VHS. This is, I don't know, early 2000s. And I just felt so cool, like so accomplished. Like, we ain't got much, but here I am able to bring, I'm like a man.
Yeah.
I'm coming, I'm bringing the toys. And also had my own, amount of toys I was able to get. And as hard as life was and stuff, like being able to be an adult now, I don't know. I can't express the feeling sometimes.
You know what I love about that story that you shared? It wasn't just about gifts for you and your sister. It was about your mom too, and the sacrifices she was making, and everything she was trying to do on her end as well. And I think it's so important to address the full family, not just the children or just children and their moms, right? In the nonprofit sector, a lot of times we have conversations about, well, where are all the dads? Well, all of our programs, look at how many programs are geared towards women and children, and we're not inviting the dads to the table unintentionally, but we're not having them at the table too, right? And so back to yours, I love it that it was about you, your sister, and your mom.
As you're saying that about a lot of the charity programs being geared towards women and kids, I'm always curious, and there might be programs out there, I don't know, I'm just speaking, that as a man, you might feel inferior or less than if you do go to these programs and do, like, I'm the man. I got to have it figured out. I got to get out there and, bootstrap it up and go work these jobs, take care of my family. I wonder if that plays a part. I don't know, maybe you might know or not, but in the psychology of them not wanting to get help, to feel like I'm a man. I'm not going to ask for help.
Yeah, absolutely. And totally understandable. And we have a responsibility as service providers to make sure that our services are available outside of 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, right? So families can work, can do those things and still participate. And Dorian, it's similar to what you do every single day of sharing your story and motivating, encouraging others. When we have a dad who has been through the program and gives his testimony to another father, right? It hits different than if I'm talking to them, right? Man to man. And to do male mentorship and to be able to have that safe space where they can have their vulnerable moments, but still step out at the end, right? And button it back up for themselves as they deem fit for them. Yeah. So it's important. It takes all of us as nonprofits. We have to be very smart and think about how are we providing services? What time are those services? Are we making it conducive to the families who need our services? Because one thing, if you have the service, but it's not at a time that works for the families that you're serving, they're not going to come. Not because they don't want to, but because they have to put food on the table, right?
Was there ever, well, I mean, to go back to what I told you when I met you, but going through the story I've told you, and growing up how I grew up, and there was a gentleman, his name is Dave. I'm calling him as Coach Dave.
Okay.
Don't remember his last name, but it was an ice hockey program when I was in 4th grade. We're at this playground in Orange County, California, Fullerton. Older white man comes up to us. We're like, what's this guy up to?
Sure.
Like, who is very unfamiliar. He comes up to us and tells us, hey, do you guys want to play ice hockey? We're like, what? Ice hockey? I'm not going to lie. Sarah, I'm like, I never seen a black people play hockey. What do you, what's really going on, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, just come to this church at this time on this day. Then again, I'm like, older white guy wants us young kids to go to this church. What's really going on? So we go, sure enough, it was a 1-hour class about ice hockey, teaching us the history, teaching us the rules. In return, if we show up once a week, the following week, we get to go play a free game. So we go to school or take the class. The next week, a charter bus would come pick us up at that church, drive us all the way to the Mighty Ducks practice facility. We'd get free skates for rent, free equipment for rent, and we'd play a game. And the way it went was you played against similar ages. You know, in ice hockey, they have lines, but this was like 3 to 5 minutes. Line 1 would be the little kids. I'm talking about little, like 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
Could barely skate. And then the next group of kids, age-wise. And I did this for about three and a half years. I played as a kid. But one thing that was so great about this program, I didn't know at the time, was they taught us about community service. So we went and we would have events where they would tell us, hey, you guys got to come. We're going to go work in the soup kitchen.
Yeah.
So we'd work in the soup kitchen, give out food. We'd go, remember Christmas time, Long Beach veteran, or Long Beach, it was a veteran hospital basically. We would all get toys and go give them out to the veterans in the hospital in Long Beach, and packaged canned foods. And I didn't know at the time the seeds it was planting in me at a young kid at 10, 11, 12 years old. And what's so crazy to me, Sarah, is that this whole time I'm homeless.
Yeah.
As a kid. So I'm going and doing these things, giving back to the community as a kid, going home to a motel.
Right.
Going home to the floor in the motel. I just put that together right now in my head. That's crazy.
Yeah. How did it make you feel?
Good. It felt cool.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel like, oh, I gotta go do this. It never felt like that.
Yep.
And I guess the point I'm making in the story for the Litpos listening is you don't need to have so much to give back.
No. You just have to have a will.
And a want.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
And I don't know at what point in my life, I know what point it was. Sobriety. So when I went sober, Sarah, the first few months were cool, but then I had a point where I just felt lost, alone, uncomfortable, not knowing what was next. And something triggered in me like it's time to just do something for somebody else. And then I had my first charity event. The fulfillment was to the roof.
Yep.
And it just trickled to the next charity event. And here I am almost 4 years sober and still dabbling into my charity giving back events. They're all different in different ways now. But I remember sitting with myself after like one of my first few real successful events. And success is so subjective, but I'm like, I'm really doing this. I'm not a 6-figure earner.
Yep.
But I have the energy and I have the want and desire to where I'll reach out to anybody. I'll reach out to Sarah and, hey, Sarah, I'm doing this event. Do you want to come? Worst people can say is no.
Yep.
And people weren't always saying no. People were like, oh, I want to be a part of it. And then you see the faces on people you're giving back to. You see where that money's going. And I guess the message to people who are listening is like, go give back to your community. You don't need to be a 6-figure earner. You don't need to have your own business. You got to just have the want.
That's right.
And you express that to somebody like a Sara Ramirez and they see that in you. Dude, this dude Dorian's authentic. He cares.
Yep.
I want to go help him. And now I know Sarah knows this other business owner. Sarah knows this other nonprofit. Maybe my idea isn't fit for Catholic Charities at this moment. But you know what, Dorian? I know somebody at this one who could use that.
That's right. Absolutely. Without a doubt. And you know, one of the things, so when I think about helping other people and giving back, a lot of times people walk into volunteering, right?
Yeah.
Thinking I'm giving to you. But really, if we're honest with ourselves, when you walk out, they gave you a better gift. They made you a better person. And it feels good in our souls. We all want to be one. I mean, like just natural human instinct. We want to be wanted and we need to be needed. And we want to be a part of something bigger and better than ourselves, right? We were not designed innately to be in isolation. We were designed for community. And whenever we can reach out and help each other, yes, you're helping someone else, but you're making yourself a better person as well. And that is okay. It is okay to go, it just feels good to help. Great. I don't care what your motivation is as long as it's good.
Yeah.
But as long as you are taking the steps to do something. And Dorian, you know, we've got tons of opportunities at Catholic Charities. There are also lots of fabulous nonprofits in this community who are in need of people to step up and walk in their door and say, I'm here to serve. Just put me to work. Right? I can put cans on a shelf. I can wrap diapers. I can make hygiene kits. And sometimes, especially post-COVID, nonprofits, we've gotten savvy. You don't even have to always come up on our campus to do volunteer work. You can take it and go have a dinner party with your friends, meaning order pizza and have everyone at your house, have some good quality time together while you're putting together hygiene kits for the community that needs you. Like our community needs each and every one of us.
So I mentioned to you when we met, but I'm part of Leadership Las Vegas.
Yes.
This past week ago, we had our second session day, and it was Safety Net Day.
Excellent.
So it was a 1 hour. It was a whole day. We're there, and we're talking about Safety Net, and we're at 3 Square. So we're at 3 Square, and the CEO of Goodwill of Southern Nevada, he was there and spoke, and Shine a Light. You familiar with Shine a Light?
Yes, very much.
So Rob and Jeff Iverson were there, and it was just great, right? Like 60 people in a room, all different backgrounds, upbringing, race, religion, whatever, learning about the safety net and the importance of it. And you know what's crazy, Sarah? As they're sitting here talking about it, I started to get irritated.
Tell me.
And a little angry. And the reason I'm very proud of myself and my emotional intelligence growing up now, and I'm sitting there and I'm listening to these people talk about the safety net and the charity work and, you know, where this is doing this and how it's going to, all these things, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm getting irritated. I'm like, and angry. And I had to sit with myself and think about it. And a part of it was I was still sad. I felt the young me that lived it. So as we're sitting here in this room and they're talking about it, I don't know everybody's story in that room, but I know when we leave here, they probably got a good life they're going to go back to. And I'm just sitting there just like almost reliving it.
Yeah.
And as you know, they say anger and whatnot are just a secondary emotion. Sure. And I had to be real with myself. I was like, damn, dude, I'm a little sad listening to this because this woman, so we had these breakout groups.
Okay.
And one of the alumni from leadership reads this letter, and it's 5 of us at a table, and we respond. I didn't want to participate. I was annoyed. I was just irritated. So let me just chill and let these people participate.
Sure.
So they're participating and they're, you know, asking certain questions when it comes to like things of safety net. I can't remember all of them, but one question she asked, it was the very last one. She says, how do you think instability at home, finances, food, all that plays on a person long term? And I was like, this motherfucker's talking to me. Sorry for cussing.
You're okay.
She's talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to speak at that point. I was like, I'm proof of this. That question is my life. There was instability in a good portion of my life. There was scarcity with food, scarcity with everyday things. Like I just sleep on the floor in the motel or share a bed with my mom, twin bed. Like it was not ideal. There were years, for those 3-4 years, very rarely did we have a home cooked meal.
Mm.
There was nowhere to cook it.
Right.
So everything we ate was sandwiches, fast food. And I carried those same habits into adulthood.
Sure.
And living out of a duffel bag for 3-4 years. I still have that trauma response now as an adult at 34. I haven't been home for 20 years, but I still live. I don't live at a duffel bag, but that's still mentally, like, I don't buy a lot of things. I don't like buying clothes. I get scared to buy clothes. I get scared to buy, like in my house, it's very minimalist style. I don't want anything. I just want a room and a bed. And I expressed this to them. Then I told them, long term, it could go both ways. Because for me, going through that as a kid, I used to feel inferior, but now I feel I have the upper hand on a lot of people.
That's right.
There's people who came up with the privilege. They had both parents. They had nothing to worry about. They kind of coast sometimes. They kind of like, oh, we're good. But then there's somebody like me who didn't have it. I know what it feels to go without. So I'm every day going forward on the grind or on the push of wanting better and trusting there can be more, like almost like just more hunger.
Yes.
And I came to that realization. I told them, like, on the flip side, there's people who went through, I went through, and long term, they're probably on drugs.
Sure. They're
probably in jail. And yeah, that was just, because we're talking about safety net, it kind of just, story just hit me. It was a wow moment for me.
Well, that makes me think about, there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book. I have it, but
never read it. It's in my house. I need to read it.
Can I be honest with you? I have that book, and I've only cracked it a few times. And I don't know why, but I struggle internally to go and read it all the way through, but where our trauma becomes a part of our DNA, right? And it really does. It may go dormant for a while, but when those moments come, it will come back out. And I really do. I acknowledge you and your emotional intelligence to recognize that when you were in that moment too, Dorian. I think that's huge. And I do agree with you that you are, and I'm not discounting anybody else. I'm not even discounting myself, but you are a more well-rounded human being than even I am. Because of some of your lived experiences that I haven't had to live before, right? And I know I have lived experiences that you haven't had to live. But I think that whenever someone has had opportunities to experience all parts of life, whether in struggles and challenges, that it can make or break you at the end of the day, right? And sometimes I do. God and I have a lot of conversations. And I ask a lot of questions, and sometimes it's even a wonder, why me and not someone else, right? Why did you put this on my heart? Why is this for me to do? Why are they having to go through that challenge, right? And reality is, in our society, we are all pretty much one paycheck away from potential homelessness if you do not have a group of individuals around you, right? Where everything can be going well, but that one medical issue that takes your family down, that addiction that comes back up for an individual, or unhealthy relationships, we're actually very vulnerable. I know we live life every day, but if you really think about it, we are very vulnerable.
I agree.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I just think the work you're doing is important. It's got to be tough workload of everything. You said how many employees?
300.
Yeah.
300 employees, 16 programs.
300 different personalities.
Yeah.
Backgrounds. So I would like to say you're a leader.
Yeah.
Right? Could be wrong.
Sure.
I'm not. I don't think I'm wrong. Never wrong. But in a sense, in position you're in, you are a leader.
Absolutely.
Now, when you stepped into this role, Were you the same role before or no?
So I was executive director in Austin, Texas, and then became president and CEO here. It's just a bigger organization, but I oversaw the whole operation.
When you first got your leadership role, whether it was this one or the one before,
yeah.
did you have moments of doubt or maybe like,
Oh,
I can't do this?
yeah, Dorian, I still have moments of doubt. There have been times where I walk into my office, close the door, sit at my desk, and wonder, how did I fake my way into this? And what are we going to do? Right? I mean, like, there's absolutely, I mean, I have confidence. I know things that I'm really good at, but yeah, there are absolutely moments when the responsibility of my role, because it is a big responsibility and I take it very responsible. But there are moments that it can be overwhelming. But those are the times that I go, God put me here for a reason, one foot in front of the other, keep going forward, right?
Yeah.
Because as a leader, and especially in the nonprofit sector, I've never been in the for-profit, so I can't speak to that. But in the nonprofit sector, you have plans and visions and goals, but you're reliant on federal, state, and local government funding. Well, that gets cut all the time, every year, right? It's on something's on the chopping block. So then you have to scale down. And it's not just about being like, oh, we have to scale back services. We know what the implication is to the families, and that's the hardest part. And so being able to keep going forward, even in times of uncertainty. You know, I'm not naive, but there's a lot of hope and a lot of prayer. And sometimes people are like, well, how are y'all going to make that happen? I don't know, but God's going to help us find the way. If this is what we're supposed to be doing, he's going to help us find that way. And it is going out, even to your point of then going, who do I know? Well, I know Dorian, and Dorian knows this person. I'm going to call him and see if he can help make a connection, right? Because we all want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And when I find people when their soul isn't, it's because they haven't found it yet. And it may not be at Catholic Charities, and I always say, if you don't know where you want to be, give me a call. I'll listen to you, and I will connect you to, if it's working with children with grief and loss. Well, great, there's a nonprofit in town that does that. Let me make that connection for you, because you're going to be going and doing something amazing with another organization, and it's only going to make our community better. And I hope you remember that we helped connect you. So when someone mentions a need that they have, that you go, call Catholic Charities, right?
Yeah.
Be a bridge builder. That's what I think you do, by the way. You're a bridge builder.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm shocked, surprised at the people I know now and come across.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I know how, but then it's just sometimes shocking.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very talkative and I'm a curious individual.
Yeah.
To where, like that rule I said, I go in the room, 3 people, I'm telling you what I do, whatever, somehow, some way. Or what I like to do is I like to ask people, in what way could I help support you? Right? That's it. I don't want anything from you.
Yep.
And I think if more of us went into conversations or just interactions with that in mind, how can I add value to you and what you're doing? That's it, with nothing expected in return.
Yep.
Because like you said earlier, when you are giving and you do that, I'm going to get my fulfillment.
Yep.
If you need me to come and do X, Y, and Z, speak to these people, work, do fitness, come box things up, I got it. I do it. It's going to be self-fulfilling. And just like that, I made a connection with you. Fast forward 3-5 years later, you need something or I need something. It's not I remembered you did that. It's just, I know what you're about.
That's right.
I know where your heart's at. I know what kind of human you are. Woo! We're talking today, baby.
Well, and then we're only I always say I'm only one phone call away from anybody. I'm one phone call. We're all just people, right? Doesn't matter what our titles are in this world. We're all just people. We all put our pants on the same way. We all have insecurities. We all get our feelings hurt, right? Nobody is immune to that.
There's a real good book I read by Robin Sharma. Are you familiar with him?
No.
I've only read one of his books. It's called The Leader Who Had No Title. Yeah, an old client of mine recommended it to me one time, and I read it maybe a year or 2 ago, and it was real good. Say
the title for me one more time.
The Leader Who Had No Title. Let me double check.
Okay.
I'll text it to you also. But,
okay, please do.
What I was going to say to you was The Leader Who Had No Title.
Okay.
Robin Sharma. It was real good. With you being a female in this high position over a big nonprofit, has there been any, I guess I already asked it, but like doubt or kind of, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
how hard is that?
Absolutely. And more so when I was younger, because I first became a vice president in Catholic Charities Fort Worth when I was 28 years old.
Wow.
So I was young. But let me tell you, Dorian, I put on glasses that had no lens in, or, no prescription, so I could present older, so people
Wow.
would take me serious. And over time, you just have to grow into it, right? And again, I still have moments of doubt and insecurities and what am I doing and how did I get this opportunity? Because if I really sit back and think about it, this was not my career trajectory, and it was so much better than what I could have even envisioned for myself. So
Yeah, I like to ask those kind of questions for the other women leaders who might hear this and see. And another reason I have people like you come on here is to humanize you.
Yeah.
Right? Because we can think, I'm guilty of it still to this day. No, not as much anymore, actually, I'm lying. But you hear somebody's name, you see their title, you see what they do, and you think like, oh.
You have an assumption.
100%. We create stories so quickly within seconds. And I like to have people who do work like you do on here so you can see, this is just Sara, dude.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, watching other women that came before me, and not that I didn't have mentors, but even some, they were mentors and they didn't know it, right?
Yeah.
But I would watch the women that were on the board of directors in Catholic Charities Fort Worth. One was the board president. I watched her very closely. I watched how she moved, how she interacted, how she wasn't apologetic for her space at the table, right? Those are important things to observe and then to mimic for yourself. And, I did have a leader once tell me, Sara, just fake it till you make it. All right. And it worked.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that saying too.
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Mine was similar saying, but mine's more like, because sometimes people hear fake it till you make it and think you're putting a mask on.
Yeah,
but I think how I see it is act as though you're already it.
That's right.
Like I already feel like I'm this way. I'm going to start acting like that.
That's right.
And before you know it, you start to become that.
Yep.
Like I'm going to act as though a sober person would act. 4 years later, here we are, sober as all can be. And yeah, what I wanted to ask you was, there's a few fucking questions I had to ask you. Sorry for cussing again.
You're okay.
I don't know, because when people are,
All
I don't want to.
You are not offending me at all. I promise.
All right, well, in that case, I want to touch on what you said about when you go into your office, sometimes you're overwhelmed because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. Even though you signed up for it, you're kind of still have those moments as a leader.
Sure.
You've been doing it for a while. This ain't your first rodeo.
Yep.
And I think that was so important but you still keep going, right? I think sometimes we as humans don't know how much we're capable of until we're stretched.
Fair.
Until we're stretched to a point of, and overwhelm's okay.
Yep. Sharpen skills.
Being scared is okay. And I wish more people understood that when you're trying to do something bigger than yourself, that is a part of it.
Yep.
That is a part of it. It ain't going to be, I want to change the world. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be rainbows, unicorns, nice dinners, people liking you, people thinking you're beautiful. No.
Yep.
When you're trying to do something bigger than yourself, it comes with the hard stuff.
Yes. There's a quote, Dorian, as you say that. It was actually, I am drawing a blank on which pope it was, so don't hold me to that. But his message was, those who have hope live differently. I have hope.
Mm.
And when you have hope, you can look at life a little bit different. So those challenges that are right in front of you, yep, it's here. But it may not be here in a few more days. Just keep your eye on the prize and keep going. Keep trudging forward and don't stop. Yeah.
So would you say, from what you just said now, in a sense that you have that hope, and regardless if you see it changing or happening, you're still trusting that it's going to come?
That's right.
So that's what the podcast is about.
Yep.
It's called Bamboo Season. Are you familiar with the story Bamboo?
No, tell me.
I love it. So you plant the seed.
Okay.
5 years, nothing comes out.
Mm.
But during that 5 years, you're still doing the work. Watering it, fertilizing, giving it sun, making sure it's taken care of. 5 years, nothing. Nothing, Sara. Nothing's coming up. What are you doing? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Year 5, boom. You see it hit the surface. 5 years, it hit the surface. The next few weeks, it flourishes foot by foot. At any point, Sarah,
Hmm.
during that 5-year period, if you said, oh my God, I don't see nothing, and stopped,
Yeah.
you never would have gotten to that 5th year where everything was happening for you.
Mm.
And that's why I call this the Bamboo Season
I
Podcast.
love that.
Because people who come on here, they may not realize it or know it. There was some seed they planted at some point, trusting and believing, even if they didn't see it in the moment. Life is going to be better on the other end if I continue to do this. You got to just trust that what you're doing is going to get you there. And I like to tell that message to people because sometimes with the world we are now, they see Sara, President, CEO of Catholic Charities here, beautiful woman, husband, doing all these great things. It didn't happen overnight, dude.
No.
That took a lot of steps, a lot of doubt, a lot of overcoming probably imposter syndrome,
Sure.
a lot of not believing at some point in yourself, right?
Without a doubt.
I'm assuming, sorry, but
No.
I would like to think people who are leaders, there's moments of like, what do you?
Absolutely. But that's what makes true leaders are not about title, right? Nobody cares about the title because I have frontline staff members who are leaders in our mission. But true leadership is really more than about yourself. It's about how can you help somebody else, even on the career side. So like even for employees, I am a big believer in succession planning and making sure our employees have all the latest trainings, opportunities. And I'd like to find out, what are you interested in? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in the future? And how do I help you get there? Right? A lot of times we want to keep our very best employees within our mission, and without a doubt, yes. But at the same time, if they're going out and leading in other areas, it just makes us stronger as a collective group. So leadership is about being vulnerable. A lot of times people think it's just strength and power and I have the decision. I promise you, I walk into many meetings and I have no idea what the answer needs to be at all. But I listen to my team. They have content expertise, and then we're going to make the decision that's in the best interest of the mission and why we exist. And we constantly have to remind ourselves of that, of why are we here, right?
Yeah.
And that helps kind of ground us when we're going to make some really tough decisions.
I'll ask you one or two questions here to finish up. One is, how long ago was it when you first started working with Catholic Charities?
I joined in 2004, so 21 years ago.
So 21 years ago. What advice would you give yourself 21 years ago when you first got into Catholic Charities?
Wow. That is a great question. Let me think about that for a second.
You got time.
I'd honestly tell myself, absorb everything that you're learning and like the people and the connections. Because even sometimes, even when I first started out, not realizing that network that you need to build, that you don't have to go and do it on your own and you're not in it on your own, that you have people that you have met, cultivate those relationships. That's what I would have told myself.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And is there any advice you would give somebody that's doubting themselves in their leadership role?
If you're doubting yourself, you're doing something right. That's what I would say. You're doing something right. Wow. You're stirring your soul, right? And when we doubt ourselves, we go and, because historically, if we doubt ourselves, we're going to go and try to get more information. All that does is start sharpening your skill sets, right, along the way. So if you're doubting yourself, you're doing something right.
That's beautiful.
You're being human.
Last question. What's a quote you live by and why?
Perfect. So one of my favorite quotes, and it has been for about 29 years now, and it is from a person called Jay Waldo. I have no idea who they are. I just saw this quote one day, and it has resonated with me and stuck with me, and it's something that I even have up on my wall, and it's our future generations. When they look back, what will they say we have done for them, and will it be honorable?
That's a word right there.
It is. It's a mantra for go out and do good things.
And good things will come.
Yep.
One more thing I'm going to tell you before we finish.
Okay.
Because you said it just now about your network and realizing you can't do it alone. Do you know what animal has one of the most high success rates with hunting?
A lion?
Ha ha! I'm glad you said that. I didn't expect that.
Okay.
No.
Oh.
Lions only 30% success.
Oh, who?
African wild dog.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I want to say it's 90%, but they have one of the highest success rates when it comes to hunting because they work together.
Okay.
They work in pack and they communicate and they play with each other and they have stamina. The lion only is 30%.
Wow.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But they have the look. So it's proof to show sometimes you got to look ugly.
Yeah.
You got to do the dirty work, but you're going to get successful.
That's right.
Woo!
Pretty powerful.
Send it to your team. Anything coming up? End of maybe this episode will come out next week. So
Okay.
right before Thanksgiving. So anything coming up, Thanksgiving time, Christmas, you want to let us know?
Yeah, so we do have two big things coming up. The first one is we have our turkey drive where we're trying to make sure that 3,500 families get to experience not just a nutritious meal, but they get to build some core memories around the Thanksgiving season. So opportunity to donate frozen turkeys, shelf staple items. If you can't do that, you can always get online and make a $25 donation. $25 will feed a family of 4 for Thanksgiving. And then at Christmas, we do a toy drive for all of our families, and the children have outlined what their wish lists are. And we're always looking for our community to step up, adopt one of our families, and bring some toys up so that those children can have that experience. But even more so for the kids, it's so that the parents can give, parents or grandparents or aunts and uncles, whoever's raising, but they can give them that opportunity to have that. What I love about when we do this, we don't wrap the gifts. We put all of the gifts together, and then we give them wrapping paper and everything so that the parents or the caregivers can do that and be a part of giving to their children and be a part of the love of wrapping the packages.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Any other lasting words?
Go out and do good deeds in your community. If you are not a part of a local charity right now, please call one of them and get involved.
I love it. Thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on. I didn't believe you at first. You said I'm very responsive and everything. And I was like, all right. And I sent you an email. You replied right back. So thank you so much for being, what's the word? Not touchable, but like, what's the word?
Real?
No, like if I'm able to communicate with you, I can't think of the word. Not touchable, but like I'm able to get to you. Reachable.
There's a word in there. I just can't think it either.
You let us know in the comments. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Bamboo Season Podcast. I'm going to tag their website, Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada, into the descriptions podcast. When you see this and you hear this, please go donate the $25. Feed a family of 4. If you can't, sign up and volunteer this holiday season. I'm going to leave you with the word. What's the one for today? If you want to improve yourself, if you want to feel better about yourself, do something for somebody else. In return, it's going to fill your cup more than you can imagine. It don't have to be big. It could be small. Donate your time, your energy, finances. Get your team together. Instead of going out, joining up for brunch, get your team of friends together and go volunteer somewhere at any charity that fits your, whatever you like. Kids, youth, homeless, animals. Do something bigger than yourself. In return, you'll become larger than life. Woo! That one was good. 2 words. Keep growing.